What's up, everybody? Shauna D Man here, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys are having yourselves a pretty good weekend. We are back with our series review of Ironheart. Hope you guys are ready to jump into it. All right, so Ironheart. Over on the so obviously I did kind of like weekly reviews of this series. Um, Overall, and this was not a good series, and I pretty much felt that way throughout the entire watching all 6 episodes because it says a lot that Disney, instead of doing their weekly releases, they dropped 3 episodes last week and then the final 3 episodes this week. And it shows. Now, again, for those who don't know, this series was, I believe, completed back in 2022. But waited 3 years to get released to now. You can definitely tell just by the way things are talked about in the show. This was definitely set during, whether you agree with it or not, this was set during the DEI, height of Hollywood, that kind of stuff. And this series basically it's that. It is that. There were so many issues that I had with this series, and so to talk about episode 6 first. No, you know what? We'll just talk about the whole series as a whole, and I'll just reference different episodes. So basically the same talking points that we've heard before, that if you don't like the series, it's because you're a racist and all that. It's the same talking points we've heard over and over again. So from my understanding, the first 3 episodes that dropped last week didn't chart. So it wasn't like in Nielsen's or anything like that. Now it could do that because Andor was like this because they did their 3 episode drops. And then because of the way the hours accumulated, it kind of shot itself up to like the #1 spot and things like that on some of the rating systems and stuff like that. So that could happen with Ironheart. I don't know if that is actually the case, if that will, but now again, Ironheart is you doing 3 or 6 episodes. Andor had about 12. So Andor did have about 6 more episodes than Ironheart. But needless to say, it's just not a good show. It's not a good show. I never liked Riri Williams from the beginning. I didn't even like her. I didn't really like her in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Definitely didn't like her in this series. There's so many issues that people are talking about when it comes to this series, and obviously you have those who give valid criticisms and stuff like that, and you have others who don't really provide anything that says why the show is good, other than the fact, oh, you're a racist and you hate women in leading roles. The same talking points that we get time and time again when it comes to these kind of projects. One of the things, so to harken back from the first episode review I did, one of the things I didn't like is, so episode 1 of the series, Riri is basically getting kicked out of MIT for plagiarism. Now, one of the things that she was doing, in order for her to build her suit, she was basically cheating. She was selling like projects that she made to other students, not just at MIT, but I think like they said Cambridge, New Haven, and a few other places. She was selling the tech that she made, and students were using it to pass off as their own for their own grades and things like that. And one of the things that I didn't like about the sequence is that episode 1, the dean talks about how, Riri, I work hard to put people like us into seats like these. Now, this is the dean of MIT talking. Now, the issue I have with this is basically throughout this series, we are consistently told how smart Riri Williams is. There's a plaque with a newspaper clipping that says Riri started college at age 15 or something along those lines. So Riri is a smart character. If she is just as smart as Tony Stark, why would she need help getting into MIT? And one of the things I mentioned is either A, what you're saying is she's smart as Tony Stark, but she's not that smart, and so she needs a little bit of help to get into MIT. Or what you're saying is you work hard to put people of color like us into DCs. That's where I think they're going with this. Again, this was set, or this was filmed, wrapped up, and all that stuff, and done within that 2020 to 2022 time frame. Again, what was going on during those times? DEI influence. You saw it through movies, you saw it through video games. It was just running amok, and this is a product of it. This is a product of of those talking points in this show. Another thing I had issues with was episode 2 when they do their first heist, which is they are going to hijack the CEO of Tunnel. Tunnel is took old Chicago tunnels and things like that and converted them into basically. Well, I'm trying to think how the best way to describe it. Basically, express lanes. Let's put it that way. So, like, if there's a congested point on a street in Chicago, you could take one of these express lanes, or these express tunnels, and it will get you to your destination. Hence, you avoiding the congestion of the road. There's a moment in episode 2 where Riri kind of like, oh, we're robbing the CEO of Tunnel, and Clown, who is the pyrotechnic of the group, was like, yo, you mean the CEO who doesn't care for her projects, displaced communities and stuff like that. And they never really show us a displaced community. You just said that because it's because it's a buzzword talking point that you would hear in real life, depending on what it is in particular. And quite honest, if you watch the episode and you hear what the CEO is talking about with this Project Tunnel, it's actually not a bad idea. You have subway systems in New York. They had to probably displace a bunch of communities just to get those operating and working properly. So it's not really an issue. Then they do the whole heist and everything, and they make her sign. Now this plays later, but they could have done something maybe different. Basically, these heists were just a way for Parker to gain control over certain companies that his father owns, making him kind of like the silent partner, things like that. And so this whole thing with Parker, for instance, in this series, it's just him getting back at his dad. It's just daddy issues. That's such a stupid reason for what they did in this series. It's just dumb. Like, now what they could have done, and this is just me speculating, because we do learn Mephisto, even though he shows up in the final episode, we do learn, obviously, Mephisto made a deal with Parker to get him, to help him escape from his dad's estate after a botched robbery. They could have made Parker kind of like an aide, or they could have had it to where Parker is the contracts that people are signing are contracts that Mephisto drew up. Now, again, Mephisto would probably rather do these deals himself, obviously, but I think it could have been an interesting thing where Parker is, in order to have the hood and things like that, Parker has to do these deals for Mephisto while he maybe deals with, like, let's say Johnny Blaze or Victor Von Doom, something along those lines, the bigger fish of the MCU. Parker could just deal with, like, oh, this person said they want to make a deal to help them be the richest person in the world. Just have them sign this contract. They could have done something like that, but they didn't. And that's just my thought about it. And then one of the things that Riri talks about is how she talks about it, I believe, like in the first episode, and you kind of get the justification in episode 5. She talks about how she built an Iron Man suit because she could. In reality, she built it because paramedics and officers they arrived a minute late after a drive-by shooting, which left both Gary and Natalie dead, and Riri was powerless to do anything about it. There was nothing she could do about it, and because of the paramedics and help arriving 1 minute late, they both died. And so Riri basically is like, I don't want this to happen ever again. So her plan is to build suits in order for her to, or order for them to arrive quickly and help people a lot faster than your typical human help would be. And so, which it is fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that idea. The problem is it's all about her, and it's all about the suit. Because to me, if this was her idea of why she built the suit, why couldn't she go? She had the funds at MIT. Why couldn't she made several suits, like one that's a police officer, a firefighter, paramedic, something like that, like these different designs of suits, and get contracts from the government to build this, to like facilitate her building the suits and stuff like that. Why couldn't you just do that? Why it just focuses on her and this suit, and so it's such a weird. I don't know. It's just a weird thing. Like, and then you have Joe slash Ezekiel Stain. Um, he was okay. I, he was okay, I guess. The rest of the crew uh, were fine. It's just like, why am I rooting for criminals? Like, all they're doing is basically stealing from people. It's like these people. It's like, oh, these people have money. We should steal from them so we can also have money. They're not going to miss any of it, or like something like that. It's just, and they weren't very good either. They're all kind of like lame. None of them were very interesting. Um, I'm trying to think if there's anything other than that. But so Riri, towards the end of the series, basically she makes a deal with Mephisto. Don't know what that is, but she makes a deal with Mephisto that brings Natalie back. So it definitely sets itself up for a season 2. I don't think this is going to get a season 2. This is probably a wasted money project. It's not getting us, at least I could be wrong. It's Disney, but it's more than likely not going to get a season 2. And so now I believe the Russo brothers or Ryan Coogler, one of them mentioned how this is going to tie into Doomsday. I don't know if they're just saying that just to say that, or they maybe it does. I don't know. Um, and then the magic element. So we get Zelma, and there have been talks of potentially, because I remember seeing on Twitter the other week where there were like talks about I can't remember who said it, but there were like talks of a Strange Academy series, which I don't think they should do that, because that's not really going to be. I don't. People could be interested in that. If it's a series, you are definitely going to have to tie down Benedict Cumberbatch for that, because he's not going to be in Doomsday. He could be in Secret Wars. He still has his third movie that they're working on. Um, But I mean, it's just, let me see if I can find it. And there's other things about it too. Oop, that's not what I want, because people people on the internet are like really ridiculous. Let me see if I can find. Let me find some tweets, and you'll see what I mean. It should be this one. Let's find some. Let's find some Ironheart tweets. Let's find some Ironheart tweets. Zoom in here. All right, here we go. All right. So, all right. So this was on Wednesday. So yeah, we see her like using magic and stuff like that. Well, it's mainly just to. It's not that she used magic. Well, she did use magic. It's mainly that she just used the magic to kind of like dispel Parker's invisibility, but he still could do it afterwards. So I'm not entirely sure what they were going with. But anyway, let's see. Uh, Zelma from Strange Academy. I thought the actress that played Zelma looks fine. I don't really have an issue with that. Um, Obviously Ironheart. Where are? Yeah, that's fine. I'm looking for. Let's see, what is this? Y'all know I'm a die-hard Ryan Coogler shield, but the actual directors of Ironheart deserves credit. And I don't really care. Uh, which I think actually this woman here, I believe I'll have to find it. I believe she's been picked to be like a showrunner for season 2 of Daredevil. Um, so Mephisto looked good. Like obviously you don't really see him in his form, but I thought this was good. I think this is the actor that plays Borat. Uh, let's see, Human Mephisto and Ironheart, and you're telling me this show is like it's not a top 3 Marvel show. Like you're telling me Ironheart is like you're telling me Ironheart is better than WandaVision, both Loki seasons, Miss Marvel. No, I don't think so. Like there's accounts like this that are like really really annoying. Um, let's hear it for the right wide a range of black characters. They're just characters. I mean, meh. Uh, read to all review bombers, because that was something that happened too with the series where people were posting negative reviews of it. Rotten Tomatoes would go out and delete the comments. I don't know. Let me see. Where does it stand now? What's the okay? Go away. Oh wait. Okay, I know what it is. Hold on. Do this. There we go. So Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 86% and a 51% like audience score. So because it was like 32 even before the series started. I don't know. You could review it if you were like somebody who got like early screenings of it, because there were people who had already watched all 6 episodes, and there was like an embargo um that lifted I think a day or two before the series dropped. That could be them, but Rotten Tomatoes was going out and deleting the negative comments to try to make it look good. Well, no, it still has a 51% audience score. Um, and I'm pretty sure if you like the reviews, let's see where the reviews at. Mm-hmm. I remember how to. find the reviews. Because is this it? Oh, those are critics. Audience, here we go. All right, let's see what this says. All right. Characters felt dry. Ended up rooting for the Hood. Many scenes in the show seem really forced, hard to watch because of the consistent decisions of Riri. This person, it's one of the best efforts by Disney. Love this show and the talent. The first episode pulled me in. Second episode sealed the deal. Great show, good vibes. Brought back the original suit transformations. Not much more. See, I watched it with my brother. He loved it. One of the best introductions I've seen. Feels like we know Riri now. For like Marvel put time and effort into the show. Yeah. So there's like different comments and stuff like that were going on. That ending means we're getting a season 2. No, you're not getting a season 2. See, I always hate accounts like this where they do a hashtag and then it's like it looks like this. Like I hate accounts like that. It's just such a weird thing to have. Like I feel like it's fake, but it's not. Obviously, it's been 2018, but like I always think these are like bot. I mean, it could be a bot. I don't know. It's just weird. I hate seeing those things. Riri hair out. Okay. Let's see. They want to ask Marvel season 2 and Strange Academy sequels. No, you're not getting those. Ironheart is the biggest L of Marvel all time. Yeah. Here's another one. Are you kidding me? I need Marvel to greenlight season 2 as soon. See, like it's these over. My problem is when it comes to series or movies, there are people, whether it's actual people or bots, where they over. It feels like they overdo it. They over hype something or over say something. This is an example. That ending. Are you kidding me? Marvel. I need Marvel to greenlight season 2 as soon as humanly possible because you can't just have Riri make a deal with the devil like that and not promise me a follow up. It's just you're overdoing it, and it kind of like just throws the show off for not for me. It's just kind of like let's see. BS, the show is good. Everyone is just repeating all the bro talk. White dudes pissed at black character at a 73% Rotten Tomato score. Epic Mike has been really, really good on this since this series came out. The lesson of Ironheart is being iconic is worth more than your soul. So go after your dreams, young black girls. Toss your morals aside and let the devil give you all the power you need to prove the world you are wonderful because you can't obtain it yourself. And so, yep, he had been posting like really great stuff about the series. Oh, not great stuff about the series, but he's been making really good points about this series throughout the entire show run. The fact that Marvel's at least promised show ended up being some of their best work. That is not really. It's not even. It's not even. Yeah, it was least promoted, but it's not the best. It really is not the best. Obviously, you got Zelma. They really make a deal with Mephisto after seeing everything that happened with Parker. Yeah. Ironheart is so good when you don't have a racist in your ear telling you it sucks. It does suck. It's not a very good show. I love that Ironheart is a tragedy. Never would have expected it, but I love it. How's it a tragedy? If she's talking about like how Riri loses like Gary and Natalie, I mean, you could probably pick out a multitude of Marvel projects and say the exact same thing, you know. Zelma, yeah. So, but yeah, spoilers. But yeah, it's I just didn't necessarily care too much for the series, honestly. But that's, I mean, again, there's more people like it, and my issue with it is that people are just too focused. The series is not good. You have people who are focusing in on the, if you want to call them shields, whatever, who are way too focused on on the racial and sexist part of this series, and not actually whether the show is good or not. They're so keen on trying to prove that the show is good, and you're just a racist or you hate women. They probably couldn't even provide actual points within the series that actually makes it a good series. And it's just a, I don't know. I hate people. I hate people like that. It's just like really, really annoying to say the least. But but yeah, that's relatively it. Ironheart series review. Not a very good series. Um, Definitely near the bottom tier of series for me. It's not as bad as Secret Invasion for sure, but I think if I had to say where it was at, I think it would be right there with maybe like, I actually like Echo more than I like Ironheart. Uh, Let me see. Uh, who did it? Who made that list? Somebody made a list. Was it IGN or was it Rotten Tomatoes? Let me check here. Somebody made a. No, that's not it. It was Cultural Crave. I think he posted or shared it. Let me see. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. Let me share this again. All right. So this is Rotten Tomato scores for all the live action MCU shows. So again, this is Rotten Tomatoes. I don't trust their reviews and stuff like that. I would say out of this list, I would definitely probably I would put WandaVision at number one. Both the Loki series is at one at two and three. You can flip flop how you want. Um, Falcon and the Winter Soldier at four. Probably Hawkeye at five. Moon Knight at six. Hmm. Oh wait, no. Put Miss. No, no, no. WandaVision, Loki season one and two. I would actually put Miss Marvel at number four. Hawkeye five. Moon Knight six. Daredevil seven. Falcon and see, actually no. Not I got to think about it. Falcon and the Winter Soldier had too much of a racial thing going on with it. There were some things I did like about the series, but there were some things I didn't like about the series. I think let's do it this way. The bottom tier shows: Secret Invasion, She-Hulk, Agatha All Along, Ironheart, Echo, and then Daredevil. Then Daredevil. I guess however you want to round them up and all that stuff. But yeah, but yeah. So Ironheart, and then let's see. The next live action Marvel project that comes out, there's Eyes of Wakanda, Wonder Man, Marvel's Zombies, I believe, and then that's relatively it. There's not a, and then obviously we have Fantastic Four in about 2 to 3 weeks. Um, so, but yeah, we got some. Marvel has some work to do. I think this was a project that Marvel wanted to like get out and just be done with it because they knew it was a part of it's going to be a backlash because obviously culture change and stuff like that post 2024 election, and so they were like they don't really have much of a choice but just to put this out because they already put the money in and stuff like that to make it. But yeah, all right, that is it. Ironheart series review. If I had to give it a score, like out of 10, I would definitely say this is maybe like a 4.5, 5 out of 10 kind of deal. It's just an average show, average not good show. Oh, I can't even say it right. It's just not a good show. Let's just say that. It's just not a good show. But obviously people have their own opinions. They can have their own opinions. I'm fine with that. But yeah, it's just not a very entertaining or good show for sure. But that is relatively it. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to check out my other platforms as well. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you in the next video. Y'all have a good one.